Hello and welcome to this workflow demo series from Digital, and specifically this demonstration looking at document redaction from both a list and series of regular expressions. I'm Stephen Lockyer, and myself and my colleague will be taking you through the demonstration over the coming few minutes. First, a little bit about Digital. We are an established European business-to-business distributor of software, solutions and associated services and hardware. We're focused on print, capture, document workflow automation and speech recognition solutions and services. We have a broad portfolio of market-leading solutions and brands, and we are independent, privately owned, and benefit from our own pre-sales, implementation and technical support resources. The intent of this workflow demo series is to highlight and to demonstrate specific software solutions and services, to explain the features and benefits that resellers can enable for their end customers, along with the issues and opportunities that can be addressed. To provide resellers with the information and confidence to open relevant discussions with their customers, and to ensure that resellers are aware of the solutions and professional services that are available to them from Digital. So this demonstration relates to document redaction from both a list and from regular expression. Now, the customer scenario could be that a customer has concerns about the printing of confidential or sensitive information, and that they need to ensure that specific information within documents being printed is identified and handled appropriately. And that could be the user being informed of a potential issue, confidential or sensitive information being redacted from documents, and relevant individuals, possibly security or compliance teams, being informed about activity along with any justifications. All activity needs to be logged for reporting and audit purposes. So what will this automated workflow show? Well, we're going to see user print submission through normal Windows printing processes. We're going to see document content analysis against a list of target words, phrases, and regular expressions. We're going to see documents being treated in different ways based on the analysis of the outcome and the business rules being applied. We'll see email notification of appropriate individuals and groups, and we'll see logging and reporting of activity. Now, why is this important and beneficial to customers? Well, organizations have legal, security and compliance obligations, especially in relation to personal information. There is the risk of significant fines and reputational damage if sensitive data is not protected. Organizations need to protect commercially sensitive information as well from competitive exposure. For example, customer details or customer opportunities and strategic projects, pricing information, strategy and acquisition information. And appropriate user conduct needs to be maintained, possibly through the use of pop-ups, escalation emails and alerts, and the fact that activity is logged and reported against. Before we go to the live demonstration, let's take a look at how this workflow is going to be constructed. This is quite a useful way of looking at it as well, because in many ways, the software that you're going to see is designed to work in a lights out way. So some of the tasks, some of the steps will not be necessarily very visible on the screen because it's happening on a server away from the user. But at the workflow level, we can see that we're going to start by submitting a document to print using normal Windows printing technologies. That document is going to be reviewed using the content awareness engine within the solution. And in the document content is going to be compared against several lists. We're going to look against a list of target words and phrases, but we're also going to look at target regular expressions. Now, a regular expression, as you'll see later, is the way that you can describe a pattern. So this could be a credit card number or an NHS number or a national insurance number or a passport or a driving license number, etc., etc. And this is how the software can compare what it's seeing within the document against those expressions to decide whether that is a piece of information of that type. The solution will make a decision. It will decide whether the document is clean, i.e. it doesn't contain anything that matches any of the target lists, or if the document is compromised, in which case it does contain something in one of those target lists. If the document is clean, it will be forwarded into the normal print release process, the secure release or follow print solution, and that can be then released by a normal user activity and printed as required. If the document is compromised, however, the user will be presented with a pop-up, which gives them the opportunity to cancel the activity or to confirm that they wish to continue and to add some relevant comments that will be included within any alert or escalation email later on. The solution will then redact the identified information, whether it's against the words and phrases or against the regular expression. And that information will be removed from the document. An email will be sent to the appropriate individuals or team, and that could be the security or the compliance manager, informing them of what has happened, what has been printed by who, etc., and also including the justification comments that were entered here. The job will then be sent into the secure release print queue for normal print release. The technology that we're going to be using for today's demonstration is the Control Suite platform from Kofax, who are one of the brands that we work with. I'd now like to hand you over to my colleague, who will take us through the live demonstration.
Thank you for that introduction, Stephen. My name's Nick Pugh. I'm a pre-sales analyst with Digital. So we're going to show you in action some of what Stephen's just been talking about there, because I think it's easier to visualize if we actually show you. So we're pretending to be an actual user here. He's got a document. There's some information in the document, and you'll notice that I've, just so that we can see what we're going to detect and then redact, is I've highlighted the words that are in our list of things that we want to find. So we've got the words such as dummy, secret agent, fascinated, Tommy, fly shopping, and then further down the document we've got some things that are defined in our external lookup list that are defined as regular expressions. So we're looking for all the things that are highlighted. They don't have to be highlighted in the real world. I'm just making it easy, and you'll see in a minute once we've done the print and you can see the result of the redaction that we're actually removing. We do have other options such as putting stars, spaces, blank characters, or other ways of redacting and hiding that information. So we're going to go ahead and print this document in a minute. Just before I do, I'm just going to show you the list that gets looked at. So this is an external list file. It's just a simple text file. There's a couple of ways you can define things in it. So this is wildcarding. So anything that's got CIN in it. So the word fascinated has got CIN in it. That's why that one's highlighted. You can see the word Tommy in the list, which is there. And again, on the document, you can see we're going to print the word Tommy. There are some things on the list that it's not going to find, but it will look for everything in this list. So it is case sensitive. So you might want to look for Kofax lowercase, Kofax uppercase. And in this section and here below, we've got the regular expression. So I'm not going to teach you what regular expression is, but this one's a fairly simple one. This is a credit card or PC, and you can see that it's made up of 4 digits with either a hyphen or a non-printing character such as a space, 4 digits, then repeat. So 16-digit number with hyphens or spaces in between. There's a driving license regular expression there. As you can see, regular expression can be a little bit complicated. If you know the structure of what we're looking for, you can define the pattern as a regular expression. There's passport numbers, and people can type these values in different ways. So we've got passport number done 3 different ways. So we've got, someone might type their passport number in just as the number. They might type it in, or it might be come in with the, and if you look on your passport, you see it's got these little chevrons on there. So we've got that passport long, or they might do the same, but without that in. So there's 3 different variations of passport number, which is why we've got 3 different regular expressions there. So that's probably enough explanation of this external list lookup. So let's go ahead and do a print and see what happens. We've printed the document. This is still what the user is going to see. So we've got a way of notifying the user via a desktop client pop-up. You can read the message, warning, GDPR sensitive document. Please press cancel to delete the job. If you're sure you want to print it, we'll redact it. However, you might want to put comments in. So first of all, let's just do a cancel. You can see the job in the background. What we're looking at in the background here is the server side. The user wouldn't see this, but let's go ahead and do the cancel, and you'll see the document does indeed. Are you sure you wanted to change your mind? Document is deleted. It didn't get printed. No need to report on it. End of workflow. Let's just do that again so that we are going to print it, and it will get redacted. So we're just going to do that now. You see the processing rules. You can see the pop-up. So if you're sure that you want to print it, you need to put some comments in to justify, well, how did we get this document? Why isn't it already redacted? Where did it come from? Who's approving it? You know, maybe you just want to report some additional information. So first of all, let's try and submit it without any comments, and you'll see we've made the comments mandatory. Now, clearly at this point, you can just type rubbish into it. It will be sent in an email to the security officer, and it will show reports. So clearly it's not a good idea to just type rubbish in. You might have a valid justification, which was came from team 56 or 45 in this format, approved by Joe, for example. That is what's going to show up in there. So you can use these comments to provide, perhaps you want to go back and look at why these things are sensitive information is in the document to begin with. We can make those comments optional so that you don't have to put them in, but you can if you want to, or we can make comments not even appear at all, so the job will just go through. We could, of course, not even tell the user and just automatically redact the document. So there are lots of options and ways you can work. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and that's just going through the print process. And you'll see, as per the workflow Stephen showed you, we've modified the document name, so we put checked in it, so we can go tell that it's been through that processing. We've got a field here. This is a custom string. It's called security state, and it's a document classification. So for this document, it found something in that list, in this redaction list, and it found probably lots of things because we've highlighted lots of areas. So the document is compromised. If we print, and we will print in a minute, a document that doesn't have any sensitive information, you'll see we get a clean document, and we don't get the alerts, we don't get the redaction, we don't get the pop-up even. So let's just take a look at the document, view it, and you'll see we've added a watermark because we've detected that there is some sensitive information. So that's why we've got the big confidential across it. We can choose a variety of watermarks, and you'll see that we've actually removed all of the characters. Now, you're still seeing the text highlighting, because it is removing characters only. If I printed this document again, and I will do very shortly, without the text highlighting fields, you'll see that it's just white space. So wherever there was a sensitive word, we've actually removed it. And you can see even including down in this section here. So let's just go and do that one very briefly again, and let's just turn off all of the highlighting and just print that one again. You're going to get the pop-up again. You're going to get the justification again. You can see it, processing rules, just waiting for the pop-up to come. There it is. I'm just going to mangle some text in there. Processing rules, document is still compromised. And if we now view it, you'll see that you've got complete white space rather than those bits that were there. So that may be an entirely appropriate form of redaction. Again, you could redact with different characters, black boxes, stars, underscores, or whatever. I'm just going to show you what a clean document looks like. So I'm just going to create a new document. I'm just going to quickly type, this is a first document with nothing sensitive. Apologies if there's any typos in that. And we're going to hit print again, just to see what that print process looks like now. You'll see the document is processing rules. There was no pop-up. The document is clean. There has been no alert. So let's take a quick trip over to my email, because one of the things that we said was there will be a notification to a security officer. So we've printed 2 documents so far that have been compromised, as you see in the list. So we've got 2 compromised, 1 clean. We don't get a security alert when a document is clean. Let's take a look at the email. So you can control what gets put into the email. So we've got the user, administrator's print document that's sensitive. Here's their justification. So we've put that into the email, and we've signed it off with remember documents are dangerous, because potentially they are. You know, there could be a big GDPR breach going on if you're sending out credit card numbers, another PII, which is personal identifiable information, in an insecure document that's perhaps being left direct print, or put somewhere where someone who's not authorized to look at that document could obtain it. So that's the email notification. The second one is pretty much the same. I've just deleted it by accident, so don't worry. Obviously the comments in that one are different. The other thing that we can do, if we just go back, is we can report on these compromises, so that there's an audit trail for there. So this is a custom report that I've created. Now you'll see that the jobs that I've just printed are showing in there, because I just need to go back into the report generator and resubmit. So let's go ahead and do a submit. Actually, I'm not sure whether those documents have actually printed, because they're still sat waiting. So excuse me 1 second. Let me just go back to my destinations and just make sure that those jobs do print. So they're currently waiting in a pending queue. So let me just scroll across. No, they're actually unrouted. So I'm going to simulate printing them by doing a secure release. Obviously, I don't have an MFD and a secure release to be able to do that in a demo, but I'm just dragging and dropping them onto my ECRATRAC destination. So they go to an ECRATRAC release queue. See the job's busy, 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 hopefully. Then we'll come back and take a look at the reports. If we just resubmit that report, you'll see that the report now shows the information there that I've literally just captured in the comments. I could create this report just to show only compromised documents, or only documents with some user justification in. You could expand, and add different data fields, number of pages. You can customize the report. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a look and feel around what is content security, what are some of the options, how do we interact with the user, and hopefully you found that interesting and informative. So I'm going to hand back over to Stephen now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks, Nick. So let's have a quick recap of what we've seen and why. So the scenario that we were looking at was one where the customer had concerns about printing confidential or sensitive information, and that they needed to ensure that that information within those documents that was being printed was handled appropriately. We also needed to make sure that anything sensitive was redacted, relevant individuals were informed, and all activity was logged. We looked at print submission, document content analysis, how the documents were treated. We've seen an email notification being sent, and we've looked at the logging and the reporting. And we discussed why this was important to organizations in relation to their legal, security and compliance obligations, the risk of significant fines and reputational damage, the fact that organizations needed to protect commercially sensitive information as well as personal information, and the fact that they needed to maintain appropriate user conduct. Other things that we could have done within the workflow is that we could have created different and specific actions depending on the confidential items found. So that would have been having more than one compromised state, perhaps with features like different watermarks or document stamps being applied, or redacting or an alerting by default with no user pop-up. We could have blocked printing of the document altogether. We could have equally introduced additional steps to the workflow. So in an approval workflow where a supervisor also needed to approve the output before it was printed. We could have stored copies of the documents that were being printed, both in redacted and unredacted formats, within a suitable repository. And we could have triggered off other workflows from this particular workflow. I hope you found this session interesting and informative, and if you would like more information, please do visit our website, which is www.audiginal.com, where you'll be able to find more about what Audiginal does and to contact us. Thank you ever so much for your time. Bye-bye.